how long have you been over in the UK?
So it'll be 25 years in like a week. Um,
Wow.
so 1998. Yeah, I came
Okay.
over. So I worked for Kroger.
Okay.
I moved to Colorado when Kroger bought some stores out west. And then the company that launched, well, I was part of the team that launched the Kroger Plus card.
Oh,
Um, way,
wow.
way, way back when. And the company that we selected to do the technology for that, they don't exist anymore, but they had just opened a European office. They had a sales guy and they wanted somebody to come set up the consulting and tech support and everything else. And I had just run the Paris Marathon. So I had a passport. So so I knew their product, I knew the Kroger story, and I had a passport. That was good enough. So I just thought, I'd come over for fun, just try it for a couple of years, get it set up and come back. And then, most people who take time off to go travel around Europe, they do it staying in hostels and taking trains all around. And I was staying in Marriott's flying business class back in the good old days before the dot-com bust. So I really enjoyed my time in Europe. And then when that job ended, they got sold. I went with another company for a while, and then life just becomes where you live, right? And
Sure.
stayed. Here I am. So when I finally stopped playing around and traveling around Europe and got married, and we've had two kids. So my children are 9 and 12. So it started very late with everything, right? Mostly because of that 15 years of
Fun.
traveling, right? And when people say I should have done this 20 years ago, I literally should have done this 20 years ago. But our first child, Livia, who's 12, has got something called Phelan-McDermid syndrome, which is a pretty we don't try not to say rare. It's very underdiagnosed. It's a chromosome deletion. So it causes severe learning difficulties, absence of speech. She was very slow to develop in a lot of things, the walking stuff, but she's mobile. I mean, she walks and stuff now, but it's on the autism spectrum, but she's not typically autistic, like a very, very loving child, and just, difficulty sometimes processing things and things. But that kind of made life difficult. We had a lot of tests before we had a second child and just realized it was just a lightning strike. And then we had the second daughter. But it's, it just fills your day because she needs one-to-one attention. Like she'd put a cookie in her mouth, and then the next day she'd put a nail in her mouth. You got to watch her. You got to make sure that she's not doing stuff because she doesn't know how to make choices like that. You have time to get involved in the normal stuff. You get involved in parents, right? It's like, what charities do you support? Somebody does people have a list of things they you seem to pick and choose what you do and you don't do. But you're right, any free time I had, if I won the lottery, I would build a research center, right? So because I can't, I won the lottery, I do as much as I can to raise awareness about, because what you need to do to get to be a cure, or at least better attention on how to make her life as good as it can be, you need more people researching it. So they said the next thing we can do, other than writing a big check, is to raise awareness. So I've done a lot of stuff because my background's in customer loyalty and marketing stuff to raise awareness. We did a big event with King's College Chapel at University of Cambridge. We lit it up green. We have a special day for Phelan-McDermid syndrome in October. It's called Shine Green. And they light up monuments around the world. They've had the Sydney Harbor Bridge. They've had the Empire State Building. And we did King's College Chapel lit up green, which is the iconic thing at Cambridge University, right? So it's the big thing. And there was kind of a reporter from BBC that works in Cambridge that was flying a drone that night. He took this beautiful picture of it. And anyhow, it made the next morning, it was on BBC.com, and it was on BBC News, and it was on BBC things. So suddenly, 50 million hits later, we did our job in raising awareness, right? So, and I got a few contacts and emails across there from researchers and stuff who want to learn more about it, put them in touch with the right people. So it's that type of thing that I guess I've always been an organizer, right? I mean, I guess that's why I was team captain of the tennis team and dorm council president, right? I sort of don't want to, I don't necessarily need to be in charge, but I like to be the one formulating the ideas. And then sometimes when, the best way to get your ideas across is to be the one who decides what you do next, right? What I don't want is, look at me, this is my problem. I mean, when something happens to you, you try to fix it. So we're doing that sort of because it's part of our family and it's super important, and it's not fair that we've got it. It's one thing we try to push is it's not a rare disease. It's a very underdiagnosed disease, right? Because they said, back to this research thing, and this is what the BBC, if you're a super scientist and you're trying to get funding, people want something that said it's very underdiagnosed, but it's hugely common, right? Because there's lots, as you found out, there's loads of people that have a child that has special needs, but they don't have a diagnosis and they don't know what's caused it. And it's funny to think that gives you relief, but at least you know that it was this one, 23q13, one part of one strand of one chromosome just didn't get built, right? And then, but you think then, because of all the stuff they do with RNA and all the research, there's a way to change that. I mean, part of the COVID vaccine research has been about this, changing DNA code down to a level where you can pretend like you've got the virus and your body fixes it, right? They're starting to see some research now in like ALS and other diseases where this is starting to happen. So there's a chance that somebody, because it's part of autism, it's actually got some links to Parkinson's in terms of just some of the genetic coding. They said that there might be somebody who, it's one of those things where you fix one thing, and it's like the guy who invented sticky notes, right? He thought he made a glue that wasn't strong enough and thought he was a failure. And the next day he realized that he actually invented something that was going to make 3 billion